Okay.
Hello, everyone. So today I have with me Dr. Anirudh. Dr. Anirudh is a graduate from Goa Medical College. And in this recently conducted NEET PG 2024, he got a rank of 2556, 2556. And w- while you might think, sir, why am I taking an interview of someone with a 2500 rank? The reason is that he cracked it with a job. And I think a lot of us, especially from people who have either a bond or who want to support their family, must be doing the job, and they almost always must be thinking, is it possible to crack NEET PG, an exam like NEET PG, with a job? And the answer to that is yes. Dr. Anirudh is an example for that. And so that's the reason I really wanted to conduct this interview. How to crack NEET PG with a job? What was his strategy on how to, how he went about with his own strategy of main notes versus concise notes, how he revised in the end, how he used other resources, which we'll talk about in this interview. And yeah, so this is the main reason. And hi, Anirudh, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Aditya. I am doing very fine.
Yeah, so great, great. I'm pretty sure you must be excited about this. So I'll directly jump into this. You had a job. I'm sure that even if the least hectic of the jobs do end up becoming hectic if it's in preparation. How did your normal day
Mhm.
look like? How many hours of study were you able to achieve on a daily basis? And how did you maintain that consistency with that job? If you can guide the aspirants or, motivate them in that way whatsoever. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, doctor. So mine was a basic 9 to 5 job,
Hmm.
but the job was pretty intense. Like I had to continuously see patients in the OPDs and try to solve MCQs in between. I used to do that. Solve MCQs whenever there were no patients in the OPDs. I used to solve MCQs during that time. Then I would come back home and I would freshen up a bit and then immediately start studying. So if you start say at around 6 o'clock, I will study till about 12 o'clock. So that's just 5 to 6 hours of studies along with dinner and other things. So I really had to rely on some source or some material that was really concise. And this could be applicable to any intern, any person doing a job. I had the good thing of not having night duties, but it can easily apply to someone doing duties, to mothers who have their family, their
Mhm.
work. They have to do their housework and manage their preparation. I see a lot of women who are breaking that that glass ceiling
Mhm.
and showing to their families that they can also do it. So this is for any busy professional, the strategy that you can slightly tweak because you have a short amount of time.
All right. So you talked about the fact that since you had just like 4, 5 hours or maybe 6 hours on the higher side on a daily basis, you from the very get go, you wanted to have some conciser resource rather than going for a broader or a vast
Mhm.
resource because you had less time. Let's put it this way. And an intern has a less time. Similarly, you are also had less time. So can you give me an idea? So let's directly main notes versus let's say revision videos notes or any form, any platform, doesn't matter the
Mhm.
platform. Main notes versus revision notes. How did you choose between, okay, for this, I'm going to do revision notes, and for this, I'm going to do main notes. And as far as revision notes are concerned, do they suffice or do you need to add something to them in order to get a 2500 rank? Because, like, a lot of people are saying this time that revision notes do not suffice. I kind of agree to that, yeah, but I do feel that if you are short on time, nothing better than having revision notes. So what are your thoughts on that? How did you
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
you give us a journey into how many 6, 7 months or 8 month preparation you had, and what sources you focused on, the main notes of which subjects and concise notes of which subjects?
I believe, doctor, that the concept of main videos was to build a concept. It was to build a concept. It was for you to understand the subject at a very deep level, and then finally find the things that are relevant for NEET PG. That's what your revision notes do.
Mhm.
You can concise some main notes to your revision notes. I use main notes mainly for 4 subjects: the surgery, OBG, pharmacology, and a little bit of medicine here and there, just to clarify some doubts. Because I thought we need concepts in more of the clinical subjects, and the second prof subjects are more of memorization, although they do have concepts. But I felt where I was lacking in the main concepts and the weightage we see of OBG and surgery and pharmac is quite high. You'll get at least 20 questions, 25 questions from these subjects. So, the examiner is saying focus on this subject. So for that, I went for the main videos to have a more broader understanding, and so I'll be able to attempt more questions. When it came to the other subjects, I went for a more concise source, like a revision source, because it's always better to add something to a smaller source. You can add in pages, you can share pages from other sources and put it. If you're having FOMO of not using some of the resource, you need not read the entire the other resource. You can just take away points from that source and add it to your own revision notes. If you start with the main notes, you have to use highlighters and mark out stuff and do all of that shabby business. So if you start with the revision source, then you can always keep on adding stuff. You can add stuff from the PYQs. The explanation of the PYQ is extremely important. So that I would sit down and add it. You may feel in your preparation that all you're doing in the day is concising notes. You're not really retaining it. But trust me, when you go forward in your further revisions, you realize it. Like even 1 month before the exam, I was busy in concising notes because, as you sir said, last 10-day revision is the king. And I was just having that goal that I have to revise this in the last 10 days. How will I do it? It's by continuously concising.
So what we basically say that for maybe for the main subjects, that is your medicine, surgery, and obs gynae, you used, and even not for medicine, but surgery and obs gynae and pharmacology, you use main notes. But rest all subjects, you feel that revision notes suffice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
revision notes suffice only when you add something from, especially your PYQ explanations, and especially your
Yes.
points from here, and then from your GTs, probably you can keep on adding. And personally speaking, this is the strategy that I
Mm-hmm.
will always tell everyone. Either you start from main notes, or you trim it down to concise notes. That can be your efforts. Or you start from a very small concise notes and you build it up using previous year question explanations and your GTs. But you always have to find a balance between being concise but being comprehensive enough to be able to revise in the last 10 days. Otherwise, you won't be able to revise, and that will essentially hamper.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel that, do you think that this paper was not PYQ based?
I think so. The PYQs were used in a very different manner. Like using your PYQ knowledge, you could probably rule out options. You could understand the question better,
Hmm.
and all the language of the paper. People say it was very aims oriented. The language of the paper is very aims oriented. I definitely did feel that, but I was confident about ruling out options because I had the previous year question knowledge, and that definitely, I'm sure, helped me in a lot of questions. Also, since if you have a conceptual understanding, then you can attempt any question. Also, with a more difficult paper, I think the people, you know, तुक्केबाजी जो करते हैं लोग,
Hmm.
they get eliminated kind of a thing. Because if you're well prepared, it's always better to have a difficult shift
Hmm.
because then you will reap the rewards of your hard work,
Having a
basically.
hard work.
So it depends on, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but let's say one person is saying कि मैं तो सिर्फ मेन नोट्स करके जाऊंगा, मैं PYQs को देखूंगा ही नहीं, and another person is saying नहीं यार मैं PYQ based स्टडी ही करूंगा. So who will win? कि मैं तो सब
Mhm.
कुछ मेन नोट्स करके जाऊंगा, and another person saying नहीं, I will concise my resources using PYQs. I will use PYQs as the benchmark. So who do you think will have a better chance of succeeding?
The person who concises the notes using PYQs, simply being you can't revise the main notes of whichever app that you're using. You'll not be able to revise it in the last 1 month, last 10 days. For you to have that precise focus,
Hmm.
and especially if you are having limited hours in a day, you really need that laser focus key. I know what to study when I come back home. That question should be answered every single day. You may study only for 2 3 hours, but if you're clear with what you want to study that day, then I think it's a way better strategy.
I think that's very true. I think a lot of people this time what they did, unfortunately, was that there are two sets of gangs which I feel have sort of come up. A set of gang which says PYQs are useless. To
Mhm.
them, I say that uh, even in this paper, 60, 70 to 80% of the questions came from previous year questions and topics. They were just asked in a twisted manner. They were slightly asked, but the topics remained
Correct.
the same. It was not
Yes.
that. If you go haywire, like you said, if you feel that, okay, मैं main notes करके बहुत बड़ा तीर मार लूंगा, you will fall flat during the
Mhm.
last 1 month. You will genuinely fall flat. You won't be able to revise.
Yes.
And then
100%.
you will
100%.
understand the mistake that you made. तो PYQs आज भी important है. इस बार थोड़े twisted करके पूछे. Probably your practice of MCQs was lacking.
Mm-mm.
You were good with previous year questions, sure, but your practice of MCQs and asking those PYQs in a different manner was lacking, and that's why you did not falter well in this particular exam. But to think that to completely shift a strategy of just doing main notes, doing all the main videos, uh, even right now, I would say that is a dumb strategy because you will not be able to revise in the end and you will not be able to
Yeah,
attempt
yeah.
anything then, right? You won't be able to attempt anything then. You always have to.
Also, doctor,
Hmm.
the main
Hmm.
Also, doctor, the main notes would have content even for INI CET. So if your focus is really, really like you want to crack NEET PG, then you need a more NEET PG oriented source
Hmm.
rather than INI plus NEET PG. That also
Hmm.
point I think it needs to be mentioned because my focus was mainly towards NEET PG. I got a rank of 19,000 in May INI, but a better rank in NEET PG just 2 months apart. I think that was because I was more NEET PG focused and not INI focused. It helps in that context as well.
True. So basically, your preparation should be focused. And when people say your preparation should be focused, the word focus essentially means focused on what? Focus on important topics. And what are important topics? Important topics are those previous year questions that
Mm-mm.
have been asked again and again. See, whenever I personally feel that whenever, let's say, we are preparing for NEET UG or we are preparing for any exam or in our college also, at that point of time, it would be a blunder if we are like, we'll do the entire Harrison. Right, nobody does entire Harrison. Everyone
Mm-mm.
ends up coming to Bulur, Archit Bulur, or everyone comes up ending to Matthews. And what are Matthew and Bulur?
Correct.
They are nothing but PYQs, and they have given the answers to those previous year questions in a theory-based format. The same concept is
Yes.
valid for NEET PG also. Maybe yes, you can start with main notes which are equivalent to Harrison, but you have to come to a Bulur or you have to come to a Matthew-like source, which is your concise source which can be revised and which will be obviously focused. How focused? Because you have done your previous year questions, so you know these are important topics. So totally ignoring previous year questions and thinking that I will just do main notes is a blunder, and I genuinely feel that that would be a blunder.
Mm.
But what your strategy says is actually true, that considering medicine, surgery, maybe not medicine because medicine becomes too vast, but maybe surgery, obs, gynae, pharmacology, and a little bit of pathology, I would say, because pathology, pharmacology makes up medicine. Maybe
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
these 4 5 subjects, you
Correct.
can consider doing main notes. But for the rest of the subjects, you can focus on revision notes and revision videos, and you will get a good rank with that. Next question
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
Probably this strategy probably was followed by a lot of people. They ended up getting a 10,000, 15,000 rank.
Yes.
You got a 2,500 rank. Do you feel that there was a differentiator between a guy who got a 10,000 rank or you got a, let's say, a 2,500 rank and someone got a 1,000 rank? Do you think there can be some differentiator? You want to talk about that differentiator?
Honestly, doctor, I think I added like at least 100 marks to my base marks. Like
Hmm.
even when I was giving GTs, I would end up somewhere in the 500. But in the main exam, I scored 609 marks,
Hmm.
which, a year ago you told me I'll be getting that. And like, bro, it's impossible. But I think what helped me get those last 50 marks, 60 marks was first aid. Because you have such brilliant tables and explanations in first aid, which also you can concise for that
Hmm.
particular subject using your previous year questions. And I just shabbily annotated my first aid throughout the entire year that for these subjects, I'm going to use first aid for this. And there were very specific pages which I had highlighted in first aid, which I knew I had to read last 2 3 days before the exam. And doctor, I think that is the one thing, the first aid, which I came across using your videos only, like how to make it more oriented towards the PG exams and not the USMLE exams. So I think that really was like a game changer in my preparation because comparing main notes to first aid, it's almost the same size of one subject main notes and
And
the
seven
first
seven
aid.
subjects first aid.
So, I think that was really a game changer. Yeah, exactly. 7 subjects. I
So
used it for second prof subjects like pathology, pharmac, micro, psychiatry, the entire of medicine. So you can do it both ways, right? You can put first aid into your revision notes or revision notes into
into
first
first
aid.
aid.
I preferred putting revision notes into first aid
Into first aid.
because it was simply when you read it only, it's very appealing.
Yeah. Can you show your first aid?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Don't mind the shabbiness, but yeah,
I
for
think the
example, like this
first
is
aid,
biochemistry.
I think first aid should be a little bit shabby.
Yeah,
So actually, see, this is
it's
how you
totally
make your
annotated, huh?
concise notes exactly. Like he has crossed that out because he has like this is not important, but what is important,
Not important.
he has put a tick mark. So your revision, your preparation should always be strategized around revision. मैंने पढ़ लिया और अब मेरे को इसको रिवाइज कैसे करना है
Mm-hmm.
फर्स्ट एड से फर्स्ट एड इज गोइंग टू हेल्प मी बट ये टॉपिक फर्स्ट एड का इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है हटा दो यार नहीं पढ़ना मेरे को है ना यू आर
Yeah, नहीं पढ़ना है.
है ना
Like it may look shabby and stuff, but I
बट
think
नहीं
it's
पढ़ना
very
एंड
important. नहीं पढ़ना.
एग्जैक्टली नहीं पढ़ना एंड आई थिंक वो नहीं पढ़ना भी पीवाईक्यू से ही
Yeah,
आता है
and let's see the important page.
हम्म
Like ये जो important page है,
हम्म
glycogen storage disorders, annotate the hell out of it. Because
एग्जैक्टली
you know कि इसमें से दो आएंगे,
वो
minimum
क्वेश्चन
questions
आएंगे
आएंगे.
आएंगे
ये
एग्जैक्टली
पता है तुझे कि आने हाँ.
Exactly. So that is the main thing, right? You should use for the broad subjects, maybe surgery, obs-gynae, path and pharma, use main notes. Rest every subject, annotate into first aid and revision notes, and that's about it. I think content-wise, this is enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need more content in order to get a good rank in
Yeah, yeah,
NEET PG. And then comes the importance of
yeah.
revision and revising them again and again and again. If I ask you, you talked about Anirudh, you talked about that, during between OPDs, you used to solve MCQs. You used to try to solve,
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
question, PYQs and MCQs in between OPD. So, any particular resource you used for previous year questions, or you stuck with, using the normal Q banks for during that particular period of time?
For PYQ specifically, I knew I had to master them, and I had to master them in such a way that any small explanation next to the PYQ, I was able to get the information correct. Like get the PYQ and the relevant explanation. Should at least I should know that, so that if something comes related to this question, I should be able to answer it very quickly. Well, I came across your Reflex app, doctor, and I bought the subscription and just went through it topic wise. The beautiful thing about it is, if I want to study, let's say, general pathology, I'll go through the app and I solve the questions in the OPD itself. And then I know what mistakes I have done. In the morning, in the OPD, when I have small breaks, I know where I have gone wrong. And make a note of it somewhere in my book. And maybe screenshot that, save it on my WhatsApp, save it on my gallery. Then come back home, and then I know this is where I'm going wrong. So just focus on this. So even though I was working, I used to solve reflex, and then I know कि boss यहाँ पे focus करना है इसको this thing I know I should not focus on it or give less importance to it. So that's how I think you can tune your own strategy by only focusing on those areas where you're weak in.
Weak, definitely. एक अगर
Yeah.
मैं अनुरोध एक लास्ट एक क्वेश्चन पूछूं कि अगर एक broad, let's say someone, or you can talk about your journey also. Someone, let's say from now in
Mhm.
October till May, they have like 8 or 9 months. And let's say you also were doing a
Yes.
job. Let's say you are doing a job from October and you have your exam in May or June. You also have 8, 9 months with your job. What should the ideal schedule look like for a person who's starting now? And what should they do? A complete strategy next 3, 4 minutes में मेरे को बता दे.
Okay. First thing is to do your research well
Mhm.
and come up with a source. Come up with a source that will help you to build concepts. Then, second, come up with a source for every subject that will help you concise that particular thing. It could be anything. It could be first aid. It could be your rapid notes. It could be from anything. Come up, decide these two things, and don't get into the FOMO. Ki I'll change the source. किसी का नया course आया, I'll do something. Just stick to it. If you feel you're feeling that FOMO, take the things from that source and put it uh, into your
In your
concise
base.
source.
In
Don't
base.
entirely shift the source. Yeah, the base. Don't entirely shift it. Decide on the primary source. Second thing is, once you solve the questions, the previous year questions, you will know where your concepts are weak, which concept subject may which topic to go more in depth. Because concising doesn't mean you're studying it superficially. You are going in depth, but you can't go depth in all the topics in all the 19 subjects. You have to selectively see. For example, polyps in surgery, they ask. They ask the pathology, they ask the markers, they ask the cases about it. In that, you can go more in depth. So stick to your source, then trim it down using your previous year questions. So maybe you can do this up till New Year, December. You have good 3 months remaining. You can do this up till December. Then further start trimming, because there'll be certain things which you will reflexively pun, but reflexively you'll be able to come up
Get to
with.
the
तो
answer,
उनको
yeah.
हटा दो.
Hmm.
Yes, उनको हटा दो नोट से. The ones which you know, conceptual things हटा दो नोट से. Keep the ratify things in your notes. Keep on concising as and when the exam gets. And last 1 month where you can give 2 revisions, and like that's about it. Also, like keep solving GTs, because you may have the preparation with you, but if you can't
Apply
manage
it.
the time in the exam, like
Yeah.
1 minute per MCQ. Yes, 1 minute per MCQ, and if it is a long MCQ, you will definitely have that pressure, and you'll get confused between two options and all of that. So keep on giving GTs for that practice. And always remember, you'll do more better than your GTs. That's a given, because you'll be doing your last 10-day revision, which will boost a few marks, give you the few questions correct, which you thought you would not get correct.
Definitely. So, this is a good enough plan. Ki in the next 3-4 months, I would go on to say, because I think a lot of people 3 months thoda kam lagta hai. Maybe by till January end, stick to one
Mm-hmm.
source, choose anything. See, I'm a faculty of e-Gurukul right now. You can say Bhatia le lo, Maro lena hai, Maro le lo. कोई और रिसोर्स लेना है कुछ भी ले लो, whichever resource you find, एक रिसोर्स को ले लो. उस रिसोर्स में व्हाट अनिरुद्ध डिड मेरे हिसाब से परफेक्ट है. 5 सब्जेक्ट्स में मैं 5 सब्जेक्ट्स बोलता हूँ. यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट 4 सब्जेक्ट्स. आई विल टेल अबाउट 5 सब्जेक्ट्स. ऑब्स गाइनी, सर्जरी, पैथ, फार्मा, माइक्रो. इन 5 सब्जेक्ट्स के मेन नोट्स कर लो एक बार. बाकी सब सब्जेक्ट्स में सिर्फ फर्स्ट एड या रिवीजन वीडियोस या रिवीजन नोट्स करो, और उनमें ऐड कर दो प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. टिल जनवरी एंड यू कैन कम अप विद योर कंसाइज मटेरियल. Keep on revising this material till May and June, and keep on concising it a little bit more further and more further. जब तुम्हें समझ में आ जाए, खुद ही समझ में आ जाएगा कौन सी चीज ज्यादा आती है तो हटा दो. जैसे उसने
Mm-hmm.
काटा मारा हुआ है कि ये कंसेप्ट है,
Yes.
कंसेप्ट मेरे को समझ में आ चुका है, मैं अब काटा मार सकता हूँ. और जो जो तुम्हें लगता है वॉलेटाइल है वो एक दो चीजें और ऐड करते रहो. Simultaneously keep on giving GTs. Plan for your last 10-day booster revision, and simultaneously GTs or previous year questions की repeated practice, and then give your exam. I think this enough. I feel most people should be able to secure a top 5,000, 10,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? एक लास्ट 10 डे
So,
रिवीजन
of
की बात
course.
कर लें अनिरुद्ध. एक लास्ट 10 डे रिवीजन, आई दिस इज जस्ट वन ऑफ द फ्यू थिंग्स व्हिच आई फील, मतलब मैं इस चीज के लिए मैं प्राउड हूँ कि मैंने ये बहुत लोगों को बताया कि वो लास्ट 10 डे रिवीजन इंपॉर्टेंट है. लोगों को पता नहीं था. फर्स्ट एड छोड़ दो, प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस की इंपॉर्टेंस छोड़ दो, यू नो एग्जाम की स्ट्रैटेजी छोड़ दो. बट आई जेन्युइनली फील वो लास्ट 10 डे रिवीजन लोगों को कंसेप्ट ही नहीं होता था, पर वो मैंने चिल्ला चिल्ला के लाइक बोला है, एंड आई फील प्राउड ऑफ दैट. How did you come up with that last 10-day revision, and how does that last 10-day revision helps, if you can tell about that?
हाँ, आपने तो डॉक्टर मतलब you totally changed the way that we approached the NEET PG preparation, because you were like you're studying to revise in the last few days, right? So, doctor, I think take every advice that you get on the internet with a pinch of salt. Like 10 days seemed too less of a time for me, so I
Hmm.
divided it into a 12 plus 3 day strategy, where 12 if you 15 दिन का first 12 days I will be doing 19 subjects. Take 1 day for surgery, take 1 day for ops, because huge subjects,
Hmm.
huge weightage. Divide the other subjects into the last 10 days.
Hmm.
In the last 3 days, go through your 20th notebook. Go through your 20th notebook. The some of the pages marked in your first aid, and go through. Also use one more technique of the WhatsApp groups, as to take photos of every image that I came across. I need to remember and put into different subject के WhatsApp groups. This I learned by Dr. Aman Tilak.
Aman Tilak. हाँ मैंने
He
मेरे
had made this
हाँ.
popularized this
Yeah.
thing, and it really helped. Yes, yes, yes. And because WhatsApp, you can tag it. You can tag it, and then you can just go to the search of the WhatsApp, and you can immediately get that particular thing, as opposed to keeping it in your gallery. So so these small things, when you prepare for last 20, 10 days, 15 days, it really helps. Last 3 days, do your 20th notebook. I would not suggest making only one 20th notebook, because that looks a bit shabby. But make like every subject के लिए एक 20th notebook, which makes helps you organize it, and it really helps you in the revision the last 3 days, because there are some things like stagings, like classifications, you study in the morning, you forget it by afternoon. So these things you should not forget it. You need to study it one day before, 2 days before, and only then you'll remember it. So, so tweak the strategies that you even see online to suit your the level memory or the intellect that you have.
So yeah, this is about the last 10-day revision. Like he said, tweak it accordingly. He felt a 12-day revision helps. तुम्हें लगता है 7 दिन में कर पाओगे, 7 दिन में करो.
Mm,
But the main point being that these last 10-day revision is the one which is going to boost your rank. Like he always kept on talking about कि वो 50 जो GT में लास्ट 500 आया था वो 600 बन जाता है because of this that 500 converts to 600
yeah,
simply because
easily.
of this last 10-day revision. Personally मैं भी यही बोलूंगा, मेरी भी लास्ट GT में रैंक अराउंड 500 या 300 के आसपास आई थी. And that converted to a 17 rank. मुझे
Mm.
पता था उस 300 rank से I did not get perturbed. I knew that last 10-day revision is going to boost that rank to a top 30 rank, and वही हुआ था. I got a 17th rank from that 300 400 exactly rank in my last GT. So yeah, great insight. Last thing, ending note पे हम लोग एक चीज बोलना चाहेंगे. Probably would have maybe you would have noticed or maybe you would have not noticed. During the entire interview, Anirudh never called me sir. He always addressed me by either by my name directly or he just called me doctor. And this is the last thing we wanted to talk about. He's from Goa Medical College. I'm from AIMS. दोनों colleges में एक similar culture है कि हम अपने seniors को sir नहीं बोलते, because respect is earned, not demanded. And we want to bring about this change.
Yeah,
थोड़ा सा ही कि थोड़ी हायरार्की कम हो, थोड़े ज्यादा हमारे टॉक्सिसिटी कम हो मेडिकल फील्ड में, है ना? राइट अनिरुद्ध?
yeah.
सो
Yeah, of course, doctor. As you said, respect is earned, and you should always be a good example to your juniors and not, just exploit the hierarchy just for the sake of it.
perfect.
It leads to a lot of bad things that we've seen a lot. So, yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, that's the last parting words from our side, that exam is all going to, like, yesterday I saw a quote on Twitter also that, on X ki, smart people are dime and dozen in medicine. Uh, Not kind, be kind. So that's my last parting word to everyone. Hopefully you
Mm-hmm.
got insights from this information. I'll say that even if you felt that interview is not that big, maybe you have obviously some questions left unanswered, some things you want to ask Anirudh. He has his own YouTube channel, a growing YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Go and ask him questions over there in his comment section, and I'm sure that he will be able to solve a lot of doubts and help you out in probably ways in which maybe I can't help you out, because I have not experienced this and मेरा उसमें expertise नहीं है, उसमें अनिरुद्ध का expertise होगा obviously, right? So
Mm-hmm.
go and subscribe to his channel,
Mm-hmm.
learn from his own tips and techniques. Like he said, take everything with a pinch of salt. मेरे से जो तुम्हें लगता है which you can implement in your practice, implement that. What you feel you can implement from him in your practice, implement that, and come up with a brilliant strategy that helps you get the rank as far as NEET PG is concerned. That's it from my side today. Thank you, Anirudh. Thanks a lot for joining me. Hopefully people will enjoy this interview. Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Thank you, sir.